know what the skin costs. I can teach you my back. Especially you get the power, the back out of the movement. It's not only me, I check the back there. You can stand you are all. That's right. I'm more serious in the internal style than the external style. So everywhere for seminar, you are external style, are you sure? I'm really internal, you know. All right. You understand, when I learned China from my white crane master, it's not that he teaches you 1, 2, 3, 4, it's order. He doesn't even categorize, say, okay, this is hand China, this is wrist China, this is elbow China, shoulder China. He won't say that. So when we practice, you just come and start, get my hand and touch it. I control it. So only about 30 seconds, we get about 5, 6 phone calls. So from this kind of practice, it's almost like fooling around. And you don't know how many techniques you really learn. Because of his principle is that if you have to memorize one after the next one, then it becomes pattern. It's not combination reaction. But you play around, the combination reaction, everybody try to get you. Then you can turn over. I bet you can't get me. Now I realize why you can't get me, I can get people easy. Because you practice with masters, everything we put it around. When you touch it, automatically you already know how to get out without thinking. But when we put the pattern there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's back. But that's also a little bit disadvantage. So that's why I don't know how many I learned from him. So for last 15 years, I keep trying to find what I miss. More and more come out. People say, how come the first book you have only about 70 techniques, the second book you have 112 techniques? I said, there are more. I don't know, I forgot. Because in my mind, when I have a chance, I keep coming down my mind, try to search it, try to recall my memory. Especially when you're 42, it's not easy to recall the memory you have when you're 17. That's not easy. A lot of things he said before, it didn't make sense to me at that time. It didn't make sense, I just ignore. Until now, sometimes like someone come back, my master said that before. But how come at that time I didn't catch it? I catch it after 30 years, after 24 years. See, that's what difference. Because at that time I didn't understand, now I understand. So more and more, coming back. Because simply I emphasize so much writing. When I just emphasize writing, it's more and more coming back. Okay? So there are a couple of techniques. It's coming back only the last 6 months after that will come out. Okay? And that's what only our students know. Outside people don't know. A lot of the outside people, they say they are China master, they are learning my book, they are teachers. You check around, you see so many. Everywhere I will say, I learned from my master, he say, learn from you. There's all the many. You know this guy. But then they learn from book they teach. It doesn't mean it's bad. What's the book for? To help them to understand they can teach right technique instead of teach wrong technique, right? But how do you distinguish that this is my students, this is outside students? They show you. Do you have this technique? He said, no. The teacher has a couple of phones. The new one. Teacher number first one first. The lock in the back.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you can raise. It's a good time for you to refresh your memory. Okay, yeah, get down and sit down first.
You'll probably have to help us.
See, I know that. I know you can put your pressure, you can just think about it. We just learned only yesterday morning. No, that's wrong.
You know?
This one is very important, very easy. Anytime you start, you catch it. When you catch it, the hands, you move. You got, if you go like that, it's not working. You go like that, you gotta go with it. Alright, that's the first one. This one you have in the book. But the book doesn't show you the trick. Okay, this one is in the book. This one not in the book. This one is very painful. Good. Alright, those two. Try to get those two and then we get this one. Yeah, you have one. Now you do your hand touch one. You touch with this one.
Oh, that's...
Okay, so let me explain. You get in, you couldn't go in this one. That's all exposed. Okay, so walk through it. So this hand still here, you can block whatever you want. Walk through it. Once you get here, then you get trouble with it. Can you punch? Okay. The same thing for this one. When you touch this hand, this leg, don't open this leg. Go this leg. And it's very painful here. You're laughing there. English? Okay, get us two. And then
Okay.
alright, get to the fingers, okay? Watch it. Get to the fingers. It doesn't matter which hand. This hand or this hand. All fingers. Don't touch here. Because finger is important. This hand, see, lock is this way already. Okay? So up. You see, you don't need power. You say, okay, you are weak. For example, like say you are a girl, you are weak. Oh, it's okay. This hand don't waste it. Just don't waste it. It's very easy. Both hands. I don't use power anymore. Okay, it's too much pain. When you get pain, set it instead of. See the hand. You don't need too much power. Both hands. Okay. If you have one hand, that's fine. But two hands, it's better. Okay. This hand, the same thing. You lock this side, this hand. Once you tap here, push it. You got here already. So we got here. See, you still have both hands. Alright. So you don't need too much power. The girl especially can control. The big guy is very easy. You can do. This way. Right hand, this way. Right hand, right hand. Got it? Right hand. Left hand. Go fingers. Go to fingers. Don't go to palm. Go fingers. 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 This and this. So you fall like that. Anytime fingers come, that's it. So that's it. It's so easy. Just go. All right. So easy. Okay. Forget about it. It should be easy. You should be able to catch it very easy.
Okay, so it's black, just here, this is black.
If it's an enemy, alright, don't do mercy on him. It's an enemy, don't go like this. You hurt? You hurt? No, it's an enemy, you going up there, locked in there, completely locked in there. Alright? Because now you practice, you have a bad habit. Once in real situation, you see locked in enemy there. You think, I shouldn't use too much power. You don't understand that the enemy is there, afraid now. Okay, so don't worry, just use power. Okay. Now we go this one. When you get in, you go this way. When I start set up, you see I move, locking here. Okay, but you go in, start away, locking here, you lose this part. You lose this part. When you go in on the back here, they lock in, you get balls. See? When you say, okay, see how nasty it can be. You can lock your fingers. You can jump right up. And you don't use power here. You use power, you can squeeze it. Okay, then next one. This is not in the book, okay, so you remember you gotta catch it now. You can find the book. Get here, you lock. Okay, now you try to put your hand, you push. Yeah, I know. Very painful. Don't think it's not painful. All right. So Jeff, show them again so they can get it right. Don't even talk about the legs here. Okay. Then, the locking. This is all chin up. I believe a lot of you already have it. So this is all the chin up technique you can practice. See, this time you come in. When you come in, you gotta watch out. That's it. So you don't say, okay, because this hand is there, I'm afraid to attack. Because if you attack, you already take a risk. As long as you know what this one come from, you can stop it. Go in. For example, like I already know that I still want to get in. I still want to get in. It shouldn't get chopped. Because I can seal it, then why should I be so worried? But the thing is, when the crane, when you coil, it's different. See, when you coil, the hand is going down, then it's attack. Then it's kill. So that's on return, the hand is here, you don't go this way. Very, very fast, go up to Okay, so if you try to move, say the crane can move, this one is not the neck already. See, this move, this one, this leg already. All this technique, they analyze it. Just only one block, you see how many techniques can be. Can be so many techniques, only the first intercept. So you have to learn how do you get that out. You bracket, or you can go here. All these techniques, the more you analyze, the more you understand it, the more you know what's the implications. On the crane, mother and son never separate. Mother and son never separate. When they get here, this is son. They always, this and always get together. When they attack, they don't seldom attack one time. When I get here, this is the one. This one always breaking. Or even like attack a person, always get second one to leave it. So when they attack so fast, it's always the two. So that's why I said all the Jings, okay. Yeah, any question? Want to try the first one? My partner, try the first one. How about I try this is the one you don't usually take, people don't catch it. But it's very, very painful. So I want you to go on now for second. Alright. Then from the second block, like that, when you come again, all those things, Jeff can explain. Because he knows deep enough. He just didn't really discover with you guys the whole sequence. There are 64 techniques, I bet you can get 50. So this, I just want to see you get this right. Get it right tonight. This is here. Anything you want. Are you locked here? We lock here. This leg already set up okay if you necessary. Let's kill. This lock. You can get it. Got to become smooth, okay? Well, that's the last thing we discussed today.
You can use that.
Don't worry about finger lock now, okay? Spend 5 minutes, you can get a basic first. Then we'll talk about finger lock.
Because you have to go. But I'm here. first one you were right next to what is it? Good ass motor.
Always when you do this with your partner, don't go
It's much better.
This one up, lock. Then use this one, squeeze back at the same time, your thumb push. So what you do, push the joint. Alright, follow yourself. Go this way, lock this one, push this one. Push it. And then, until you feel the pain, and that's possible. No, you're wrong. Right hand, lock. Push this one, push this one. Very, very nasty. Okay. Okay, you go this way. Okay. So try to go this way, probably easier for you, understand? Lock. You lock. 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 I still didn't use power. If you use power, use the power. That's very painful. The enemy can't do anything. Because now we still use power. But we, as I said, we control the enemy. Just use power. Okay. If you use power, you can be locked there and not move. Okay. Because now we still move. You will do to yourself, oh, that's pain already. You think about your enemy so mean, what are you going to do? You're going to start healing. Okay, so do it right. Okay, do it slow first. Don't immediately shut your thumbs.
You go inside with these fingers, so you have to separate that.
See, this is on the thumb. The thumb is on the knuckle. Because this one deals with ligaments, it's not a tendon. So this is misplaced the bones. So ligaments. So this one push back at 3 times. I use power. Because only enough to let it pop. Because it's joints, you pop like that, I know that's difficult. You don't go beyond that, ligaments like this. Pop it doesn't mean you heard already, no. Your joint is very flexible, can pop. But when you pop, you go further than that, the ligaments get out. One, if you go this way, the same thing, it's a lock. But the finger lock, I tell you, finger lock is not as easy as people think. You cannot use finger lock by itself. Use your finger lock is combined with some other technique. Because nobody's going to punch and they say, okay, now you open your hand. So as I say, all the technique is only when the timing is right. And you know how to set it up, it's working. You don't know how to set up, the timing is wrong. Here, it never works. For example, you have a machine gun. Say, yeah, the machine gun can kill you. Okay. Now I sit there, I go far away, 1,000 meters away. All right, here's a machine gun, okay, you shoot. The time is wrong, the speed is wrong, it should never work. So that depends. The technique depends the situation you set up, it depends how you use it. Okay. All those things, practice. But the one thing is in the white gun, the deepest one, it's not this inner lock, it's by cavity press. Or cavity strike. Cavity strike, you already know cavity strike. But cavity press is something. See, we got here, there's a lock here. So that's cavity press. We go to the cavity press. And we get, we go here. That's cavity press. So when I lock here, that's cavity press. And go here, that's cavity press. Those cavity press, it won't be as easy because you lock just to get to the channels, G channels, and the nerve system locking up. That part never reach the center of my mind. It's not easy. My master touch. You don't see me, you just touch. No. You reach that one, your chi can reach the channel. I have to use muscle to grab it. It doesn't have to just touch it. That's it. You go like touch it. It's cover cavity is expertise. This cavity is so fast. Once you got back there, you don't move. You cannot move. It's from here until the lung. You cannot move. It's not you don't want to move. You cannot move. It's all numb. Because it's numb cavity. In China, they acupuncture, acupuncture cavity place, two big cavities. One's a numb cavity, one's a killed and strike. But this one, it's not easy. They have to get chi into the body to affect it. Well, this one, you always get it so effective. I have to use muscles. Like all these cavities, you don't need muscles. One time I saw him before that there was a thief like that. It's not even tough. So when we reach that, this internal. That's the one thing I always think I'm not qualified. I keep telling people, so I'm not qualified as master. Everybody, when I come here, those people always call master, and I say, I'm qualified as master. Because I will compare me with my master. I'm not a master. I learned a lot of forms, so what? You don't have anything internal. Because internal it takes you so many years to build up. Especially if you train every day. Yeah, he practiced 23 years with his master. And then after that, before he teaches, he practiced another 10 years by himself. Or he get very deep internal. He still says, no, don't call me master, I'm not. My master, what I learned, that's what I learned. And compare with him, I'm nothing. But after I come here, I look at him. Huh? They call me so master? From Joe, call me master, okay, you call me. But it's not. I want to try to tell you, try to be humble. There are so many good people there. Higher you go, they go higher. But nowadays, living style, we never reach the same place with our people. We never get the years to do it. So that's why I'm thinking about more modern way. HSC using a mental field. 6 months, see, I'm a good guy. But I think if I can do it, everybody can do it, right? And that doesn't mean, doesn't lose the meaning of the Kung Fu. Kung Fu is a self-charm, self-discipline. And you lose that feeling. It's almost the same thing. Like nowadays, everything's fast, everything's fast. Like calculate. Used to be, you use your mind to calculate so fast. You say, you're so smart, so good. I say, okay, what do you do? You lose. It doesn't mean you're smart. But you lose the meaning of the challenge in human life. Then people start feeling boring and hanging themselves. It's only 2 weeks ago, there's a one funny story in Cambridge, in Boston. A college kid with all his friends, about 10 friends, went to a bar, drink, and because of Halloween, very heavy. He told his friend he wanted to hang himself for performance. So he put a rope here, under the shirt, and tied up on the belt. Alright, and put the rope here. Now some people know he already quit on shoot, and everybody knows he's not hanging himself. So he hang himself, really hang himself there. But problem is he didn't expect his rope broken. Then he's broken, you chop here, the hand, you don't have enough power to hold it there. Then he kept kicking, and people said he was faking. Until it's completely stopped, 5 minutes later, what happened? They take me down, they found this rope broken. Okay. Courage kid. He only told me this time, told me lost. What a waste. Alright, thank you. And secret soul hand. Okay. So secret soul hand, so this hand you touch it, so the negative come here. There are 4 channels coming here. There are 2 channels going out. In these 2 channels, one is pericardium. Pericardium is the strongest one. That's when you use the cavity press, that's the one that get in. Because that's the chi can shock all the enemies. So the secret still not get 3 years later, they start training Jing. There are many reasons for that. It's not they don't want to train Jing. If you don't understand right, you don't even reach it. Okay? You understand Chinese people, Jing, definition. Jing, I translate, I go this way. It's pretty hard. In the American dictionary, you can't find any words equivalent to this Jing. Because it's only in Chinese term, you have Jing. So you understand what's Jing. The Jing in the Chinese definition is called Li and the Qi. Li is muscular power. Muscular power. Qi is internal energy, or inner qi. So you understand what they call Jing. You have to have a muscular muscle and you have a qi. Otherwise, you don't call qi, you don't call Jing. So Jing is very important to understand internal art. Well, where does the power come from? Where does your muscle power come from? Your power comes from the qi energized muscle. The muscle reach the power. Muscle can, express the power. If there's no qi there, the muscle is not going to be strong to energize. But usually your muscle, you use only probably 40% of muscles. If you can concentrate and train good, you can make these muscles going higher and higher. Alright? So that's the Jing. You have to have a qi training. It's not say, okay, you have to have a qi only. Just normal people, if you get this up, you have to have a qi there to energize the muscle. But normal people, they don't have a qi training. So you have to have a special qi training to energize the muscle to express to the higher maximum efficiency. So that's what I call Jing. So in this case, then you understand, so in the Jing, you have to have a qi training. If you don't have qi training, that's only muscular powers. Alright? Now, then in Chinese martial art, now divided now. Let's divide it. The first one is to use this 100% for muscle. I say, okay, it'll begin, a lot of people use a lot of muscles here. But they also have a qi there. I say the top is qi, the bottom is muscle. So from this one, start going down until there. So for here, I say, for example, like tiger style, Honga style. So say Honga style, you use a lot of muscular powers. A lot of muscle, you can see the muscle right away. But you say they don't have a qi. They do have a qi. They do have a qi. So you could say tiger is external style. It's not. It's internal style. Have you ever seen tiger when they start? What they are doing? They are concentrating their mind to lead the qi. So from there you understand. Before I learned tiger style. So you have to understand the tiger style is not as easy as people think. So if you see when I judge tiger style, if I judge it. See if this guy is good or not. If you come out, I say he's bad. Because what he energized is local qi. Because what we call local qi. Because qi comes from dancing, qi also generates from local. For example, you can leave the dumbbell 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of qi you energize, they call local qi. But the qi comes from dancing, it's different. This dancing qi is not only Shaolin trained. Tai Chi training, the Shaolin also train this one. So you have to train until the qi comes from dancing. So this kind of qi is strong. Because this kind of qi doesn't have the vessels. This kind of qi only local in the meridians. You have to have a qi come from vessels. Because that's the qi reservoir. From there to support the qi on the limbs, little limbs. Then that kind of qi is strong. Then you can energize muscle with high efficiency. So you see the tiger, they come up like that. They already tense up. They're doing that, they emphasize on here. Also, when you see the tiger, you go. Then the halfway you see so relaxed. The mind is there, they suddenly tense up again. I think this is right. That means they already get here coordination to their leader qi there before they tense up. So when you qi there, energize muscle. For example, you push me. I energize muscle there, and then I can tense up there. You can't push me. Because I need the qi here to get here. It's still local. A lot of people call it local. It's local qi. And that qi is weak. So this is hostile. Hostile, there are many hostile. So this Chinese people classify as hostile. But there's no line. Where do I draw this line? There's no way you can draw a line. Because even tiger style, the beginning like that is very hard. When they train good, better and better, tiger style can come here too. So you understand? The people, Chinese people define it, it's a very bad idea to define it. Because that means they classify the style, this is loud style, this is good style from the Jing. Like Tai Chi, they say it's the best Jing. Because Tai Chi is so soft. Tai Chi cuts down the muscle from minimum. But they are wrong. You're wrong. Because go here, you think you can beat this guy. It's not necessary true, you can beat that guy. But this one take a longer time to train. The more you go this side, the harder it will be. What happened? Because the more you need a chi to take over. That means you need more training of concentration. So that's why if you train for Tai Chi and the Shaolin, say Tiger, he trains 3 years, Tai Chi trains 3 years. Come out and fight. Which side will win? I bet you the Tiger will beat you to death. But after training 20 years, you say, okay, Tiger and the Crane, Tiger and the Tai Chi, which side will win? I just said roughly yes. No, both should be the same. If you train the same. So because the Tiger trains deep, they also emphasize the same way as you train. How can you say Tai Chi can beat him up? So Tai Chi in China, martial arts, they call it Yin Gao Shou Di style. Yin Gao Shou, you look high, but you walk low style. That's a style. It's pretty hard. Everybody say that's a harder style. Everybody look at internal style. At the same time, they walk so slow. They walk so low. They never reached it. But that means that in the whole life, they're always beaten up by internal style. It's very, very easy idea. You have to think about it. So we say Tiger is defined here. Let's take it move. When the Tiger master, we go to very old. Their Tiger is so soft. Then you say, are they here or here? They're got here. When you see a lot of people perform Tai Chi, soft hands, do you think they are here? No, they are here. So this is kind of a Chinese external style. It's pretty hard to define it. Roughly Chinese style defined it. The first one called hard style. The second one called soft hard style. And the third one is soft style. But it's really hard, soft, hard, and soft style. It depends. It's not depends the style. Depends the way they train. So the Crane, let's do Crane. I saw Crane do that. I saw some Crane style do that. But to me, that's different. But still Crane. You couldn't say that's not Crane. The way they consider the Jing is different. Chinese people, when they judge the Kung Fu, there's one big problem now in mainland China. They argue most. They say this is Wushu, modern Wushu, this is Kung Fu, traditional Kung Fu. Wushu also say, yeah, we can use for martial arts. But Kung Fu say, you can't. I say, okay, let me explain to you. This technique can be used this way. Kung Fu say, it never work. Why they can say it never work? You have the forms, you have the technique, but you don't have what's behind the power. That means they don't have Jing training. You check with the Wushu, they don't have Jing training. It's only forms, a lot of beautiful forms. Even you can say, okay, I can use this one for technique, but you have forms, but you don't have really actual technique. Because what you don't have is the support, you don't have the power, you don't have the Jing inside. So when you train train any kind of external style or internal style, the master wants to see you have a Jing inside. You can really acquire to attack the enemy. You get the idea that you understand what you're looking for. It's no more a lot of sequence. A lot of sequence, branches, flowers, just for performance. You want to get good, get few of them, and get Jing, every Jing get out. You punch it, okay? I see people punch. People punch. It's different idea. Returns is that's a different idea. So sure, people have a different way to show. So when you see, it's not the form. You want to see how they express their power, how they get sense of enemy. Because without sense of enemy, the chi cannot get out to energize the muscle to the maximum. It's called sense of enemy. So when you train the sequence, until I can see you have sense of enemy when you perform, I say this guy is good. Even now you are not good, you'll be good. Because that's what we're talking about Jing, right? Alright? So from here you can see hard Jing, typical style, Chinese always like use tiger style. Long fist is around here. Long fist is not. Long fist is a good style for looking. Long fist Jing, most of Jing is long Jing, it's not short Jing. The reason because they emphasize more hands and more leg, long range fighting. Long fist they have problem. You say 手是两扇门. You say hands just like two doors. 抬腿就打人. They attack by leg. They don't use hands for attack too much. Because they believe, see the hand like that, my legs so long, why should I use my hand to attack you? So they keep you away, always long range. For his good range to fight you. But to a Korean, it's not. Korean, they believe the leg is most important. That's where the Jing comes from. You couldn't lose your root, then you can get the Jing out. So Korean, they don't use kick too much. They'll kick the head most of the bottoms. So fast. So in order to kick the bottom, you couldn't kick that high. So it's middle range. So from middle range to short range, that's a Korean fight. When we go to Tai Chi, that's even different. Tai Chi comes so soft. What's the Tai Chi technique? Tai Chi technique always stick in here. Without sticking here, then you don't call Tai Chi. And Tai Chi even harder. Tai Chi could even use long range fight. Once Tai Chi stick with you, they will stick with you with hands as a circle. That's even short, very short range. That means I can get you, you can get me anytime. But in order to reach you to the high levels, you have to touch enemy. So you know when you attack, you can bounce it, because in that kind of short range, you cannot see. It's by feeling. From the feeling, you know his strategy. That's why it becomes so deep inside the short range. Then in this case, we say, Tai Chi is the hardest style. But is Tai Chi the best style? I say, if I'm a long fist, you are Tai Chi, you got trouble. If I know how to keep you away, I can kick you 10 times if you stick with me. But Tai say, you got trouble. If I get in, then you got trouble. I say, yeah, wait until you get in, we'll talk about it. So what's the best style? There's no style. Say, this is the best style. That's the lousy style. That depends how you treat it, how you take care of it. Okay. So when you know that, and you understand, where's the white crane? White crane called soft arching. Soft arching. So it's soft, then it becomes hard. So this style is between. So that's the reason today I can understand Jing so good from internal and external. The reason because I'm in between. Because of between I cover this range. This one covers this range. This one covers this range. From here, I know what's going on. From here, I know what's going on. I didn't learn too much from my Tai Chi master. I didn't even know where he is. When we started, the first time he got to it, the first time I went there, he said, come here. You want to learn with me? Okay. All right, come here. Put your hands here. Boom! Bounced me from the corner to that corner. He said, okay, now you understand. You obey. Because spank, he hit you. Every hand form you get wrong, or hit it. This is not the easiest you think, but when we train, it's not the same way you train. One form, you don't get it right. You don't get the next form. But take it forever. Take me 3 years to learn it. Every morning I learn it, then until 2.5 years. People ask me, say, how come I don't get in touch with my masters? That's between me and him. Because what happened, he was 29. Gao Tao was only 29 when I learned from him. He was very young. He's an English teacher. He was 6 years old, he started with his parents. His parents are very famous Tai Chi master in Beijing. Then I learned with him. To my mind, this master is so good because he can bounce me so far away. Even I learned white crane that time for a couple of years. So bounce me away very easily. To my mind, it's really good. Until one day, you see, in my high school, I was on the second floor, and that's the field, the soccer field. Then his school, he was the leader. He's a coach. He lead the soccer team come to my school for kicking. I never taught you. Did I tell you this? Because usually I don't cut too many people. It's the master stuff. Then it's a soccer team today. I don't know what happened. His team and my school team, they fight. But he came out. He joined fighting. I was there. And then he not only joined the fighting, there are 6 of my school kids beating him up on the floor, on the ground. What do I think? If you are me, what do you think? You say, suddenly you think your father is very elegant, your father is very, suddenly you find out he's not as you think. At that time I was so confident in my mind. I want to keep him away, or I want to go in down and tell him. But I decided to keep him away. So the last half a year when I was in high school, it was very painful. I want to continue to learn the art side. I discussed it, I didn't want it. Until I went to Taipei, I started picking up a bit from the mountain. But I didn't really appreciate what I learned from him until after I went to Taipei, a few years later, before I came to the United States. I just realized, how come I get such good foundation for Tai Chi? Only one person can do that, my first master. He built a good foundation. So in 1979, I went back to Taiwan. Then the first thing I did is went to the school to try to see him, find him. It's gone. So to me, that's something. I keep the past the words, I'm looking for him. I don't know what it is. Some people say he might be in the south into China now. I don't know what it is. Okay, that's my first Tai Chi master. So I learned only 2.5 years from him, but that's good foundation. When you learn 2.5 years with the master, you never touch the Jing. Your mind is still in the forms. Not like here, you train the form 6 months, you finish it, you say, I'm expert. Here we train 3 years, still don't know anything. So it's from a master, so for Tai Chi, without 10 years, you can never get deep. You say, hey, good forms. You have it? You say, yeah, I have it. You say, no, you don't have it. Tell me what's the feel of Qi, when you turn around, how Qi moves around. When you move forward, how far your Qi can reach. You say, what? That's me, you don't know. Every form, every internal style, when you stick around, the Qi is following you, stick around with your hands. That's from here, you can sense your intention. So then you never reach there. Then you just pick up so many forms. You say, oh, I'm good. Yeah, outside you look good. Inside you got nothing. That means you have forms, you don't have Kung Fu. Because that's Kung Fu is inside, you have to pick up. Take your time to train. Take your time to train. Take your form outside, take 3 days, you learn it. Everyone you have to teach in one sequence, 3 days, concentrate. It can be very good performance. But do you have it? You don't have it. So it's very important. So when Jim told me you guys really like the Jing training here, I said, wow, that's good. That means you guys understand something. You not say, okay, what are the reforms? You have to do is every form you can put a Jing there, put your mind, put your Qi there. So why train Jing? It's hard. It's not only why Jing is hard, every style, Jing is hard. Because Jing is touch secret of every style. That's where the power comes from. When the Jing comes, then the hand forms start getting involved. So far, how many of you hand forms get involved? When you spar, when you go to the store, when you go to the temple, how many go to the temple this way? When you go to the store this way, go to the store place, you go to the right form. You always have the same punch. When you have the same punch, tell me, do you really understand where you strike? Do you really understand hand form is important, how you get Qi to the hand forms and also strike the hand? Yeah. That means you treat all the technique the same technique. But every technique has different hand form, different theory, different Qi training, different choreography training. Then you tell me I use the same piece to strike everywhere. That's inspiring myself. I don't know. So that's important things you have to see. How deep you want to get in. You can get deep, you can get forever. You can get forever. Alright? Now let's go to Jing training. In Tai Chi's Jing theory, you read the poetry. Tai Chi says, Jing originates from your root, your leg, directed by your waist, expressed on your fingers. Get it up. Power generated from your leg, directed by your waist, and expressed on the fingers. So all three come one. This book is not for Tai Chi. For every style, you look at this side. There's a Jing theory. On the back, this is Tai Chi theory. It's not for Tai Chi, it's for any internal style. I'm not kidding. It's for any internal style. Because any internal style has to follow all these portions. So you can read it. I'm still reading it. Even I translate it, I explain it. I read it, I sometimes I read it again. I say, no, this one's, the meaning is deeper than what I translated. The reason because simply I didn't know that deep, but now I know deeper. And in the future I believe, I say, oh, this is all wrong, I'm sorry. That's because your understanding gets deeper and deeper. So the book, this one, you can read it repeatedly. I believe, for my knowledge and experience compared with yours, this book is still enough for you to learn. Continue reading it, you can learn. One of the Chinese Tai Chi book called, written by Chen Yanli. He wrote this book about 45, 50 years ago. From Zhou Donghua went to mainland China, he went to Shanghai to see him. In Shanghai, he becomes famous, he's not famous at all. That's because in communist system, you can struggle for living. But you understand, 45, 50 years ago, he was only about 25, 27. He wrote a book called Yang Tai Chi. That book has been considered as the Bible. How can a person 27 years old wrote a book considered Bible even nowadays in Taiwan? That's why Zhou Donghua went to mainland China. The first thing he went to Shanghai to see him. He wanted to see how great this master now after 40 years. He realized, I thought he said he realized, he doesn't have time, he didn't have a chance to practice continuously for the last 40 years. Only struggling in politics. That's a waste. For his knowledge, 25 years age, today he can be very great master. But he didn't have the chance. So Zhou Donghua went to see him. In the Zhou Donghua book, inside has a picture about him. He saw the picture. He like all those things. So in mainland China, a few masters still alive, but great ones, used to be great ones, they are not really great today. Like one night stand, he was very good when he was young, so good one night stand. In my masters in Chinese mainland, when he was only 25, everybody already know him. He's very famous. I saw the picture on his book. In China called rice bucket. Rice bucket is inside is a cup. It's a field this way. It's so light, you can put one hand, you go this way. Start shaking. You walk on top without moving. Think about it. How can you do that? Can you explain it by Qi Gong? Can you explain by anything? How can you explain by today's science? Where is his gravity? Where is the weight? How can you walk on today without moving? But he was doing that when he was 25, 26. Now he's 92 years old in Fujian. I talked to Master Liang. He said he killed himself in the mountain. He didn't want to come out. It's because politics, the society. It's not him. If I believe the last 40 years is not under the rules of communism, today all those masters can be very great. A lot of masters willing to hide themselves in the mountain without coming out. You know, the Chinese men, they just got one out, Haideng fast. In Shaolin Temple, Haideng fast. Shaolin will find a priest and get him out. Ask him to try to take in charge of Shaolin Temple now. Haideng fast has been in charge for 4 years. I talked to Master, and Master said he saw him. He met him before. He met him about 20 years ago. He's about 92 now. When he was 88, I only saw him dead. One finger upside down. One finger, I should probably take. One finger upside down. Can you do that? One finger upside down, whole face. It's 87 years old now. And another one in the pictures. Now the traditional Chinese bag. In traditional Chinese bag, it's so strong, very strong, because it's made by rice bag. Because I make those bags when I was in Taiwan, that's when we make it. So because it's so cheap, materials are cheap, so strong. It's made by sesame fibers, leaf fiber, very strong. It still can punch a hit. You know what it is? It's so strong. One finger, because. That's in the field. 87. You want to fight me? He cannot move very fast, but his chi, his Jing is there. He cannot fight. So your technique, yeah, you're better. Or you want to say, technique's better when it's only there. Your technique's better, you can beat him 10 times, check him 1 time, that's it. I should promise you, next time you have a chance, remind me when you play. You should make a copy here. Because since you said he saw the tape, ask me here's the tape. I don't pass. So he come out. He's one of the very few hermits has been invited by mainland China Communist Party coming out. There are a lot of others still hide themselves in the mountain. Still hide in the mountain. I talked to last night, I said, in the mountain you still so many priests. Go to so high, so high, not good to do it. But they're high in the mountains. They become hermits. They don't want to come out. Because this society to them has become so dirty. All politics, all money, all everything. So then they want to pure out. Because once you reach there, your understanding about human being, human life is so deep. Okay, so now it's Chen Yanling's book. I was talking about Chen Yanling's book. Chen Yanling's book, even now, I read that book for 24 years already. I'm still reading it. Just one book, reading it. Every time I read it, I say, how come I didn't understand it? Now I understand. Because it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Simply like I listen to classical music. How many of you listen to classical music say I like it? I believe very few of you like it. But you keep listening, keep listening. Listen for a couple months later, you say, yeah, I like this one. It's the rock music. Rock music is all easy for everybody to understand. Like karate. No, I try to stop karate. Karate developed in the last 200 years, but Kung Fu is 4,000 years. The classical music is very deep. Only when you reach the level, you understand it. But not most people, they like rock music, they don't like classical music. Why? It's not because that's not art, but they don't understand it. Like me, I couldn't understand Picasso. I look at Picasso, I turn upside down to the sideways, I still don't understand it. But how come people pay $1 million to buy this painting? Because they understand, I don't. So that's the thing, everything is the same. Every science, every art. Once you get in deeper and deeper, you find out it's deeper you can go. Never get satisfied. But the deeper you get, the better you feel, the better you have the taste. Instead of stay outside. For example, you go to a Chinese restaurant. They have all you can eat. They have so many foods there, all you can eat. People say, wow, it's good, that's why I keep eating. You don't know what you're eating. Then coming in, going out, you say, yeah, I enjoy. That's rock music. If you think about going to Chinese restaurant, oh, the dish is a good one. Let's sit there and enjoy the taste of everyone. You don't eat too much, it's just delicious. You eat it good, tastes good. And after the 6 months, you say, last night, those three dishes good. You say, oh, I had 20 of dishes last night. What's the taste? I don't know. Which would you like? One has meaning, the other doesn't. The other is surface, the other is deep. That's why I talk to Sam. You know, Sam, he's the last announcement. He like to win the championship. Everywhere we champion. Last time in Winchester was out of 6 competitions, we win 4 first one. We thought he's the greatest in the whole world. I said, yes, he informs you are in the United States. That's how much you can tell me. Explain to me what's the type of become a power is outside the fashion sense. Do you have it? It's a form is performed for outside. Internally, you cannot perform for outside. It has to be mastered, feel how much you have. The same thing as Jing. We talk a lot because it's all related to the Jing training. The same thing as Jing. You look like, yeah, I have a Jing. You really have it? I'll say it. Alright? When you train Jing, you understand. It's very important. In the beginning, you need to speak. The more and more, you don't need speed. The speed is not important. The beginning, you need speed because your chi system is not strong. Even tiger claw, they still need speed. tiger quality. They need speed in order to pass. Because speed is most important. Then after you get deeper and deeper, once your qi dominates the whole Jing situation, then the speed is not important. Because we stick to you. What do you think? If you think the old master, our muscles so weak, they couldn't use the speed. How come you finally get stuck? Can you get out? My master, my Lord, the master. You touch it. Once he said touch it, look like a glue, go with it. Anywhere you go with it. You want to control with it, you can, because it's internally so strong. He stick with you. Then what are you going to do? Like a Tai Chi Shen, when I stick with you, what are you going to do? You are in the defending all the time. So once you get to there, the qi take place. I never seen one. But my master said, when this qi becomes so important when you reach high, how can 80, 90 homemade still fight you? They search very carefully. When they stick with you, when they touch, you got trouble. Just touch. They don't need power for this. Because the qi can go out with a shock. Because you understand, qi, now I understand more and more. Qi is the bioelectricity. How the bioelectricity? The electricity can build your electricity potential higher than the enemies. For example, they touch your armpit, this tip. This armpit connected to your heart. But your heart can allow only 4.5 amp of current, for example. When I get it, my qi penetrate to my fingers, go here to give it into 15, what you can do? Your heart is going to attack. By touching, it just passes qi through your cavity, go to your organs. It can rupture your heart, it can make your heart attack. The second one is liver and kidney. All those three, usually it's the first one. So these things you say, when you reach their levels, you don't see people strike. You have heard people say, touch Chinese people. And in mind is touch to kill. It's how can touch to kill? To the people, they don't understand Qigong, they don't understand Chinese martial art. They never understand that. It's almost like American doctors, they don't understand any culture. Just because they see it's a physical world, they don't see internal worlds of martial arts. So once you reach there, that's different. But when you reach there, it takes so many years. 40 years. How many of people nowadays willing to spend their time to reach the levels? I've not seen that. Most people say, oh, here, once you get a few champion, wow, I'm satisfied. But this art is dying out. It's really dying out. People ask me, why those books? Because most people don't understand. Only until they can feel the qi, they start understanding. I say, that's the art. Because people don't understand, they want to write it. And when I wrote that book, I didn't expect myself. Because too deep, nobody understands. It's surprising, it's just so good. That's what makes me so happy. Okay, now, so that's me at the beginning, you need a speed. Now we're not talking about that deep. Because that deep side, you have to practice. You have to understand Qigong. It's not only for Tai Chi students, but every Shaolin student. Your friend also has a Qigong training. It's not start with Qigong training. Now, that speed, it's become so important now. For white friend, Jing training is not like tiger. Tiger, before the halfway, they already taste out the muscles. When they taste out muscle, you understand, this is your joint. You have ligaments here. After there's a muscle. There's a muscle. I'm sorry, it's a tendon. There's a muscle. There's a muscle. There's tendons. And there's a skin. I'm talking about, for example, this joint. So, when tiger strike, before the power come out, before the power reach the end, you don't pull your muscle. When you reach the end, you pull muscle. Instantly, these tendons get tension. Really get tension. So you can train, if you understand Jing training, you can jerk your power in 3 hours. You can get one form, very good. Can you build up your tendon strength stay fast? In 3 hours. I bet you, I train so many students for the Jing. A lot of kids so smart. You train 3 hours, they can do the forms very good. They find out they hurt, injured while we're here. Because you understand, all these tendons are not designed for those kind of Jing training. It's designed for normal people. What happens is suddenly promote yourself in the high speed. This speed is so high, don't remember? When you have a Jing, the speed is so high. I don't know, Jeff performed for you before, when he was push candle off that part. How can you understand, can you push candle off that part without even touching? The only reason because of speed, the pressure, the speed, push the pressure in, put the power to the candles, so penetrate. But that's the power, that's the speed. Because you need the speed, you don't get the chi out, you don't get Jing out. But problem is your body is not designed for that. So that's why when you train the Jing training, you gotta be careful. It's not say, okay, I get into the Jing training. It's good, exciting. You have to feel yourself. Because once these tendons cannot handle it, once your body starts handling this power resistance, your ligaments. Your ligaments is not designed to handle those kind of things. So your ligaments start to tear off. The joint pop out. So when you train Jing training, you got to watch out. What kind of injury you can get is in the book. This was written almost 3 years, 2.5 years in the book. How many of you read this book? How many of you remember you read that part, the injury of the Jing training? That's me, you do it one time, you go back, read it again. Understand, every page you understand. Read this book is not reading novels. Read this book, you understand every word inside. Everything I said, you say, how come when I say it now, it sounds so clear. But when you read the book, how come you don't read it? Because when you read the book, your mind is not reading. I'm so surprised that you can go to cheap books, not for buying. Okay, these are the tendons. So you have to train the tendons, because tendons, you have to train tendons. You remember the Tai Chi poetry. It's a train your body's Jing. It's train your tendons. It's not the muscles. If you train your muscle, then it becomes stagnant. But that word is important. In Chinese word called zi. Because every time you train your muscle becomes tense. The muscle tense, the qi won't go. When qi won't go, then how can you use qi to support the power? So what the Tai Chi emphasizes is tendons. All tendons like a weak. So here, relaxed. It's all relaxed. So the only thing is tendons jerking. And very slow until this part can make it. But the white cranes and tiger. As I said, tiger is easy. That's the problem. That's white cranes problem. It's not as serious as Tai Chi. A lot of people train Tai Chi, that's why they get joint injury. Because the muscle all relaxed. Crane is not. Crane is so soft. Until the last is before you reach enemy, suddenly tense up. Suddenly your arm picks up. See, when I strike, you strike. The end you see, tense up the end. When I tense up the end, suddenly all the muscle, all the tendons suddenly tense up. When you tense up, the joints hold together. You don't get injured. If you don't, you just keep doing that soft. This part you're going to get hurt. This part you're going to start hurting. And that's how injury can last forever. Because it's talking about ligaments. When the ligament pop out of the joint, it won't grow back. If the muscle tear off, tendons tear off, it will grow back. When this one pop out from the joint, it won't grow back. Then it becomes permanent injury. Myositis. I have students come from Pennsylvania here to drive 7.5 hours. Come to my school training for the last 5 years or 4 years. He never got hurt. He hurt 3 years ago. He trained 8 hours a day. So that's why when you practice this one, it's very important to understand this theory. So when you use the Jing, any Jing out, like this Jing out, it's not so soft. So this one won't give you problem, this one will give you problem. So you have to know. See, the end, you see how it tense up immediately, automatically. When you pick up those kind of habits in the white crane, then I say, it's fine, you don't get injured. The first injury, that's a joint injury, is going to occur. once you get heavily involved in the Jing training. And second one, you're going to get involved. Your tummy. Like Tai Chi, power comes from the leg, directly from waist, expressed on your hand. So here is only direct power. When I just get the power, you don't know where I strike. Only from my waist, I get it out. From my waist, I get it out. That's from my waist. But power, I generally power the same thing from the leg. How come my power can go this way, that way, that way, that way? It's from the waist. So it's directed by waist. That's a Tai Chi. So the waist is only a passage. Like for instance, you direct the power. So the Tai Chi, if you don't know how to direct the power perfectly, then the Jing generally here, like you generally mortar with the power. You don't express it out. You hold half here, the stomach pain. Because inside it's going to jerk. Those are power is going to stuck here. So that's stomach power. Right. So this is stomach. How many train Jing express cramp? When you train cramp, that means you got problem. You're holding your Jing inside. When you have two muscles here, when you hold power, the first place you got hurt is this part. This part is the qi men xue. Behind it is liver. Because liver is so sensitive. Spring is here, it's tiny, but liver is so sensitive. This muscle, whenever you have a muscle cramping, the liver here starts to accumulate qi because the liver is the first one sensitive already. The liver here, this cavity, you feel pain. When this cavity feel pain, you keep practicing, your liver will be in trouble because it's not effective liver. Alright? So the crane is different. The first thing. The second thing is the crane. The crane's power is not from the leg. So it's pretty hard for you to understand. It's against the Tai Chi principle. Crane's power is from your waist, go to your hands, very, very fast. Then you think about crane. Most of the time, crane is on the top of the, in China, it's on the tip of the trees. Branches of trees. Alright, if you have ever seen the crane, this bamboo, for example, this bamboo, the crane will stop here, will stop there. The crane will fight there too. When they fight there, they can't get power from the leg. You get power from the leg, all bamboos keep going this way. They can't fight. But that's a train's capability. They train themselves so stable. You can see the wind can blow so hard, the crane can stop there without moving. They just move with the trees. What's that? So that's the first principle of a crane. You stop, you follow, stick, adhere. You stick and adhere and follow. Now you understand that's a crane principle. Is that matching with Tai Chi principle? It's exactly the same as Tai Chi principle because you have to use soft. Crane is a weak animal. It's not like tiger. Tiger is so muscular, it can use a violent power against the weak. Crane is not. You don't have a violent power. You don't have that kind of money to spend. So you have to use the soft against hard. So from cranes here, they get so much power. Where's the power come from? The leg doesn't move, the power from the waist. See, I don't use the leg. You can put the roller skate on my leg. You can see my power still come out. I believe you still can do it. You sit on the chair, you still find power come out. Of course, a lot of power needs support from the root, so that's why you still need rooting. You don't make the root style, you still need rooting, but power is generally from your waist. So if I sit on here, I think I can get power out, but this one is not come from here because there's nothing. This one is dead. But that's a rooting. So crane's power comes from the waist and express on the hands. Okay. Very often in China, you can see the crane park on the bamboo, the end of bamboo. The end of bamboo is so soft. They park there. After raining, maybe seen them, all water come out, bamboo doesn't even move. What's that? That's a power. That's a Jing power. How human beings learn those powers? Come from animals. Imitate animals. The primates, tiger, it's all imitated from animals. So this kind of thing you understand. So from here, you understand the current power is not from the leg, it's from the waist. But from the waist, it becomes so hard because your stomach gets injured so easy. A lot of people, they jerk here, the power comes only halfway out, the other half still holding stomach. That's why you hear the bell. So the bell, you understand the bell, you can put it on to protect this area. If you don't have the bell at the beginning, you get trouble. Once you train hard, train good, you don't need a bell because the power you generate, you get it out. Until you get it out. Because the beginning is when you get the belt to protect your organs, because a lot of power, you know how to generate power, but you don't know how to use it. That's the beginning, you need that. Tai Chi can't practice. If a Tai Chi use a belt here, your stomach, the chi dancing cannot pass out. You lose the original purpose of Tai Chi. So you never seen Tai Chi with a belt. But Tai Chi power is not generated from here, it's from your leg. Directly from here, express on hands, that's much easier. Pass through this area. Alright? So that means, in order to get Jing from here, this area has to be soft. Very soft. If this place is not soft, how can you get your chi out here? You can't. As I say, it doesn't matter which Chinese style. You get deep with all the power, got to come from that. Because of chi vessels. Only these people, they don't know. That's Chinese Kung Fu. I'm not really inspired to criticize Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, a lot of articles published in his written. Sometimes he touches it, sometimes he doesn't touch it. To me, I don't know. If he really understands, he doesn't really understand. That's key. For the martial arts fighting in the movie, that's in order to cheer up the audience. I'm not really worried about this one. People always like to see those high kicks. You know even high kicks is bad in the real fight. I believe they always like to see that. So that's how I say, in order to make money tonight. No. We just do that. But I'm looking for something else that he writes, the real writing in publishing Chinese martial art magazine. You really understand. Something touch, and you don't touch deep. So I don't know if you understand. Then we talk a lot about Din Ma. We talk about Din Ma's character. And I was waiting for him inside how you express she was a finger forms. It's nothing. It looked like you want to show it there. Yeah, I know a lot. At the same time, I don't want to share with you. Like Adam Sheep article. I know Adam Sheep. Don't tell him. Because I know it exists in Taiwan. You tell people, so see, we always show people I'm so good, I know it's so good. Myself cannot share it. I know he knows. For sure. You want to ask him, just ask him, or they ask him to explain what is Jing. See, he will talk to you like that. I know he knows. He will talk to you like that. He wouldn't, because that's all the key. That's all the theory behind it. If you know this, you can develop all kind of Jing. If you don't know this, you won't deal with the example of the Jing. Alright? So, we spend an hour already for this. It's about time for action. So let me wash my hands. Yeah. Crane is an animal. It's a bird. It's like the seal. It can fly 8 hours, 10 hours without stop. And then, where does power come from? We look at the wind, the birds, the wind. The birds, the wind like that. Which part is the strongest? Here. That's why this part is the face the wind. And that's the one give you power. The leg is so soft from the back. So the same thing is for training. That's the same form. I understand because this is the headphone crane use. Tai Chi, they use the same headphone. When I have the Tai Chi before, we have this hand and this one. I found this one is not as strong as this one. But now Tai Chi, you see, when I do home, I change it a little bit, so I find it's stronger. But that's not what I learned. What I learned before when Jeff learned with me is this hand is a pushback slightly. The chi trap here, the center. But now I changed that chi trap over here. It's not from the center, it's from here to the laughing cavity. The power is stronger. But also when they see me do the hand forms, it's not it's a wrong. But I change. I keep experiencing things. Because this way I understand deeper, and then I try to explain and try to see it feel different way. And pick up the right way to get it. Oh, that's a plan. For easy, just crane hand form. You got to practice. If you hold like that, just try now. Hold like that. I want you to hold this hand push forward, this hand push like that. Just even 1 minute, a few seconds. How many of you expect to get warmer? You don't need to like that. You do go like that, just only a couple seconds express. Chi is there already. So that's the chi here to support all these three fingers. Alright? When the birds after they fly for a long time, how do they relax? People think the birds or after they fly a long time. That's exactly the crane. So the crane is chi training because that's the way that the chi goes to these three fingers. Okay? So it's very easy. This is Dantian chi. Inhale, when you get heated, exhale, the chi coming here at the same time the hands go. Go to the with these three bones. How many of you the chi coming here? Very strong. Only power if you feel it. Let's go small. You get chance, practice. Because that's exactly you need. Relax. 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 Sometimes your legs are sore. When we train, we have to get down. When we train Mafu, we have to start 3 minutes, and 4 minutes, and 5 minutes. Ideally, you can do half an hour. When I mentioned in the book, say no more than 5 minutes, that's because of the beginners. Once you build the strength for your ligaments, then you can get longer and longer. You can train half an hour without injury. But a lot of times you don't know Americans. Americans, they really say, oh, you can stand half an hour. They'll force me to do half an hour and get injured and come to swim. 5 minutes, okay. But you understand you can train. Some masters, they can sit my foot there, read the book, train all for a couple of hours without bothering. It's not, they say, people are away, people call me, they say, how come my master asked you to stand my foot for half an hour, the book say only 3-5 minutes. I say, how long you learn to practice? I said, only 3 months. You practice half an hour. I said, yeah. You need to get into it. You understand your physical body cannot build up in one night. Take time. The longer you feel, the stronger it is, then you can be same time. Like today you jog for 2 miles. 3 months later you can jog for 3 miles, 4 miles, continue. The first day I asked you to jog 10 miles, you're going to get stronger. That's exactly the same thing. Treat your body. Like chi is not a problem. Like this chi you can train as much as you can because you don't need physical muscle. It's more you can use your mind. It's not physical. That's one. And what happened when you move up? So the wings start flying. Everything, what do we say? It's everything imitate the crane, imitate the bird. You don't even say, because you don't say, I never seen crane. I say, let's imitate the bird. See? strong force. Continue to feel the chi. And when you feel this one and this one is different, completely. When you get here, she's so different to support the second. So this is second one. And third one. After you finish that. So that's the three basic claim Qi training. So if people say, oh, training is an external style, don't have Qi training. They ask them, how long you done white training? They say, I never done white training. How do you know? If you don't know the style, you never get involved. How can you criticize that? If I know, I can criticize. If I don't know, I don't criticize. Quality I criticize. I see so many. But when I talk to the old masters, good masters, I say, no, I don't know karate. When I talk to the karate, they say, oh, I know karate. And I talk to them. They don't know. When I talk to the old karate, some old karate masters really good, very, very good. They also train Qi, train internal. You know what? You talk to Japanese old karate masters, they understand. They research Chinese Kung Fu. You get inside. Everything inside. You talk to them, you have to watch out because you don't know. They know. Every style has a good one, has a bad one. And you say, okay, Kung Fu, do you really know Kung Fu? You say, no, I know Kung Fu. You say, no, you don't. Then how can you use Kung Fu to argue against other style? It's different. Those three is so easy. This is a relaxation movement. Okay, then we start swing, start run, then come to the chest. For this chest area. And after that, every form we start 20 times, so it's not too hard. Until we do 100 times each. And the master never appreciates it. It can take time. It takes so much time. But you just do it for a month. You do it every day for a month. I tell you, this whole thing is so strong. Very strong. I'm being strong is the master is strong. She's so strong to support the heart. But that's the first thing I really want to get in. Okay? That's the internal. Now let's go to physical now. So easy. I don't want to get to here. I want to get here. You don't see the difference. When I started, I go this way. Now I go both sides. I can see someone come from here. A lot of them come from here. Some from here. I got a headache, so I don't want to keep repeating, let you do it, you do it, I'm watching. You just see what's supposed to. Otherwise, before I go home, I'm in trouble. Anywhere I went, it's not the hand. We started already, it's so long, that means you look high. You still don't know here. The same thing as the Tai Chi Jing hand. Go on here. Then get out, go on here. Different feeling. Okay. So that's the first thing you can do it. So easy. Put your hand. So you can see it. You come from here first. If you go here, this place don't even move. No, you don't have it. From one side, so easy. One side so easy. Just so easy, then suddenly come out. How many of you calling with a breathing? How many calling with a breathing? Why you don't find breathing? That means you never have a Jing training before. You have it, you know. What do you feel? Until you feel here, it's pause. It's go. It's go. That's not it. That's it. So you feel it's so sharp. But this one going to injure you, it's not going to injure you. Because there's no pulling muscles. So this training is a basic for beginners. You have to get it trained until you can get it, until you can feel it. Because usually the injury comes from here and here, and even wrist. Then after one, they start get two. Because you understand, let me explain. Because I don't want to just say that again. The first one, Jing training, is a steady. Like we are doing for steady. But nobody's going to stand there and let you punch him. He's moving. So you got to move. Okay. Beginning, you might go punch. Get the power and then get out. Get out. It's moving. You still move, the power still can get out. Once you get moved, usually you understand the first punch you don't get anything. You have to get a second or a third. So it becomes connection, Jing connection. So you have 1, 2, punch, 2. So the first one, use the first one, when you pull back at the same time, you already store the second one to get power out. So usually the first one you can get it, second one you get it, or third one you get it. If you can get a third one and the Jing connected, everyone with the Jing out, with internal, always breathing. Wow, you got it. Might take a while. Alright. So far, you still have a steady, that's fine. Once you train for steady for a while, then you have to move, even just for this one. Then move it, then move it. Once you move steroid, move it right away. Because as I said, all this kind of Jing is not steady. This is not practical. Let's say, okay, you get a chair to your end, you sit there, let me show you. That's not right. You have to get everything to be able to do it. Even forward, even that, just like this one. Because we use it, right? Okay. For example, I just showed punch left leg. Punch left leg through. So even like that, the hands go. What I'm doing, still is from here, but I step forward at the same time. Go. And let it go because if I get power to break it. That's from what we are doing now. So everything Jing comes from here. Now, after that, then start. Pass through hand, still very soft. This is not power, it's not pulling. So there's no danger. Just relax. Then don't even think. Then bounce back. Don't stand up. The hand is up, the leg not. When your power going up, the leg going downwards. Okay. See your body. Pull back, relax. The end, watch the hands. Go here. The power get up, pull back immediately. Now, even do the forms without Jing first, so you can get power right. Come out. A lot of times, don't hesitate to yell. Yell, get rid of all the chi out and get the power out. And you don't hold inside. It's not forward. Sideways. Forward is easier. Sideways. Yeah, sideways. Alright? So let's first. This style training is very typical for expanded training. Then every forms, after we get it, they come back to the fundamental again. Because that's the steps. Because all this training, you won't hurt yourself. It's for beginners, you won't hurt yourself. The beginner started to go this way, don't you hurt that. How many people are already injured this time? Because Jing training. Yeah, so you gotta watch out. From this one first until it drops gradual, you get deeper and deeper. Jing training is deep. Jing training is not as easy like a sequence to pick up in one day. If you get slowly build up your muscle, then you know you can build up. So from here, you start from sideways. Some of you, I can feel this whole thing just like a spring. That's how forms you'll see. Just few of you catch it. Then you go next one. Otherwise we can never finish it. 3 hours for the Jing.
Really?
There are about 40 kinds of Jing training. So all these are only foundations, fundamental. Just Jing training itself, but training itself can be a big book. But only for white crane style. You're talking about different styles that are different Jing. Specialized for the technique. So like Tai Chi Jing, Ba Jing, tremendous Jing, different Jing training. So every book, every style, they can provide the one big book of the Jing training from fundamental to deep, if they really know. I see the older generation, 70 years old, they still know that. I talk to them, and they know that. That's the first thing I'm so curious when I talk to Master Liang, because that Master Liang is only 2-3 years older than me. I was so curious how much he really know the first time. Surprising. I go deep, go with me. I go deeper, go with me. I go deeper, go with me. We become so happy because it's pretty hard to find a person you can talk back. To you, I had to educate you for the next 5 years now. I can talk to you back. Otherwise, get lost. I talk to him, it looks like, wow, it's all window open. No cross. Alright? This one. See the body. This is not for fighting, but it's purely for like a whip. Lose this time. Like a whip. Also lose this when it's cycle. It's like that. Remember we had one. But you fight, you don't usually got 2 hands. Then this side. Okay, try that for 5 times, 10 times. You punch this side, I don't see this leg. You get back at the same time. That's when you don't get your chin off. So that's a hard part. But friends don't. Friends they always turn this way. They fight to get it this way. And they keep you with this way. It's so slow. So low. Alright, now let's get a little bit more now. Because what we had is all short so far to build up internal only. Okay. Now we try to get a little bit more because there's one few forms of crane called swing arms training, slice off training crane. That one you never heard, so probably it's good for you to train. Slice off training, you jerk the part out. But you don't want to pull the muscle. Remember that. It's all smoothness. It's very, very easy to learn, but it's very, very hard to train. The first one. Now you see the hands. Bounce it back, then bounce back myself. Now let's bounce back myself. Yeah, all the cranes. The first one is forward, the second one is upwards, the third one is onward. 1, 2, 3. String. Few forms. Try again. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All those forms, one after the next one, without blocking. You use the first form's power, all the first form's power to the second form, from the second form's power to the third form, until the number D. That's the form's connection. Jing connected one after the other. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Try again.
You walked up to 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, string. Recover, 17. You got that? Try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, this one. The first one.
Try again. 1. Oh, no, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a mistake. When I face myself, my mind start looking at what's my phone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got that? Again. 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 7, 7, 8. Okay, the last step is after you get it right, then you start moving. Because the leg is dead. The leg is dead. After you train so good already, you can move anywhere you want to. It's not stabilized. You can do anything you want. Keep doing it with a different angle. Depends how you adjust anything. So leg itself, don't worry too much. But the beginning, this is important. This not only stabilize yourself. Crane we use a lot, like punching. See, that's what they go this way. Okay. So when the crane go, then from this one get this right really fast. That's it. All right, try again. There's a sequence that's only specialized for soft crane, soft Jing training. Sun crane. Sun crane, sun doesn't mean like a fan. You fan it. Fan. He is a crane.
Her is crane.
He is crane. This is a crane. This is a crane. Crane. So this crane is not a noun, it's a verb. Like you fan somebody. So this is all crane. The reason because when you do that, how to classify, you find all the wind. Shoot, like the wind, like a fan you have. You know. Okay. So usually you can practice because it's a training sequence. You can do as many times as you want from this end until the end. Then come back and go again, go again until you get it right because it's a Jing training. So let's go through a couple times and I'll teach you how to get backwards. Just one, just easy. My body jerk. So every form, every technique, one. Then if you can get the leg, you get the leg. If you can't, just go back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, cover. All right, then turn. Turn. And up again. And repeat. So that's only turning forms. So you can do as many times as you can until you press the end and turn it back again. Okay, try now from here. After you get there. Turn. So this one go through groin. Now this go to this step. And open. Up. And repeat. Okay, so you can remember. Cover. Well, because I didn't spend as much time for the last couple of years. I was always busy in writing and when I get a chance. You don't get it. You're still getting trained with the hands. From here, missing. You couldn't get it easy because that's exactly how it comes from. All right? That's the thing is, because those are the training today this morning, very important in competition. That's because I joined so many tournaments. That's when every time I go back, I analyze why people get lost, why people get win. That's the keys. Some people get win, some people get lost. Okay. Other than that, a lot of push hand technique. You already know single push hand. Single push hand is very important. It's the body. You have to learn the sensing. Okay, so single push hand, that's the routine. That's what we call routine. Routine like waltz, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. But when you dance with someone, you don't dance like that. That's the routine. Routine is very important for beginners. How to sense it. And once you get it, then that's a single pushing hand. Then you can try to sense each other. Alright? After that, you double, right? Double pushing hands. These are called right neutralization. Then you push, you can get left neutralization. Then you can get left neutralization. Yeah. Alright? Then you can get smear. Circle. Circle with me. Circle. 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 That's it. Circle. Get an idea. So that's why you learn how to coil, get in. After that, I go to hand called knot. This one we had last time from the camp. That's important. Every time I'm here like that, he's always in defending. I'm the one always attacking. He try to get over. Watch me how I get over. He won't let me go. I go by myself. You don't invite me. I don't care. If I want to come to your house to eat for dinner, I don't care you invite or not. See, even luckiest don't move. See my hands. Because the whole thing depends I'm on the top or on the bottom. Why I have to force you out in order to get to the top. That's why. This one we call knot. When we control the elbow. So if every time you're pushing with someone, you can have feeling, how come I always defending? How come this guy always in defending? That's because simply this one. See, when I touch with him, when I go like that, you know he's in defending now. How much you can do offense? But press, you can, because I'm the one attacking. So you see, when I push him with him, I didn't even give a chance to pushing me back. I'm always attacking. So it's mine. Right after the next one, before he stabilized, I got him another one. They say, wow, it's pretty good. No, because I'm attacking guys. He's a defending guy. I don't care, even you are a lousy shooter, you have a gun. Because your eyes, I bet you shoot 10 times. The other guy couldn't shoot it back. He's still winning. Okay, so that's a few things you have to emphasize. Then after that, you start go to the moving, pushing hands. Okay. Now let's try to see. Now we still 5 minutes. Okay, Bill is here. Someone pushing with him, and other people see. We can see what's the key. Okay, once you move the leg, that's wrong. In a competition, yeah, that's it. Leg against leg like that. 2 hands. 2 hands. Yeah. Once you are off, lose one leg. Is I think it's 2 points. Lose one like that, 2 points. Any leg go up like lose 1 point. You complete both leg move and bounce off. That's 3 points. You lost. Okay, all right. Stop. Leg lost 2 points. Yeah, that's a 2 points. So you can tell I'm not a good judge, but like that it's come off as a 2 point. Yeah.
Each one watches the things.
That's even. That's no
Take
score.
it with you.
Yeah, take him with you. Concentrate and relax. Concentrate, relax. Okay. What you see, the key is most of the practice. What do you see?
Very tense.
That's exactly. Balls and pins. That's exactly the problem. If you get soft, you find out even much better off. The reason I find his center, I find it because he tense, so I can find him easy. If he gets all relaxed, what I can find, I can't find him. So that's very, very important, is to tense. From here, especially, very, very tense. And any more too, pushing, that you, if you can see something wrong, then you can get it. Okay. Yes. You don't have to touch each other because you can get off. Because that's the line is over there. As long as your right leg's on the line, it's fine. That's me. This side lost. Yeah. Let's start to get soft. Yeah. Touch hands, they lost.
Oh, no good?
Yeah. No, touch hands. You touch it around. Okay, that's it lost. That's the 3 points off. Yeah, that's the loss. That's all. So what do you find for them to push it? They are much softer than the other two. Much softer.
Still just using their arms?
What?
They were still just using mostly their arms. Their arms.
Yeah, a lot of time you get stuck because you're so defensive, you couldn't even reach your body. A lot of times it happens. That's very common. The power you use is that is not power. You've got the right distance, but only a little bit. You don't need too much power. Okay? You got the right position, just a little bit, but you get off. You have to go like that, be sensitive. I don't know if you understand, but my hands are all very soft, Yeah. And that's the right position. When you get the right position, what you need is only a little bit. I don't use this. I'm just like a whip. I'm using the sound whip up, some whip up, some whip up. That's exactly what you want. Okay. You don't tense. Don't tense. All right. Any more questions? 3 hours, I think we pick up pretty good, but a lot of you pick up pretty good. At least get an idea. But that's what you should work on.
At the beginning, you said you should practice against the wall.
It's not really, you can get against the wall, but basically it's find someone to push you, or you pushing, both sides, because it's both side training. Okay, let me see. Sometimes I get a big guy and I say, because it's not trying to get trick. You try to push my center and both things. Not yet. Okay. Go. I know you can't get it. Is that once the chi is important. Once you energize the muscle, it gets stuck there. The muscle stay there. They move your mind away. So that is you train, because as long as your body is centered. As I say, what you direct, your mind is here, you can get trouble. You go here, your mind is here. Whatever your mind is here, you direct the power for there. Your body just pass through. So the same thing, when you push, just expand. Expand, like you're pushing a car. Expand. Pick it up. That's the one you can train. It's very easy to train. Everybody can train. Okay. The more you train, you can push against the wall, anything. But until you find your center. The worst part, if you lose the center, use your body to push in. Then you cannot push it. If you don't use your body, because when you use your symmetry power, you find you're very strong, you can push it. And after that, you start practicing all what we have called growing. Keep searching the center. The other one, keep neutralize. Avoid your enemy get your center. Because that's very important. Then after that, we go to the last one we have, the training. because those are important technique in the competition. Competition, nobody's going to stick with your single double pushing hands. But that's a fundamental, that's a foundation. Because from there, you learn the body movements. You learn the body sticking in here. But those are important. But when you use that for competition, well, that's too far away. Any more questions? If not, remember, the book there is $10 on this side. If you search, if you have the white page inside, you got it. I just realized there are a couple of them inside. There's a blank page here. Oh, that's why I pull out. Okay, let's finish. Okay, if you want the book, get a book and get Jing money. Jing. Thank you. Thank you. Chair, sit down, we're going to talk a lot.
Otherwise, you can sit on the floor, or lay down on the floor, or whatever.
Yeah, lay down on the floor, I know, guarantee for sleep.
Just fall asleep. So you can bring a chair if you want.
Yeah, you get too far away, then I might have to shout. Get closer.
Well, he'll be writing on the board tomorrow. Here. Have Qigong and Tai Chi books that most everyone here may be aware of. And he can talk to you more about that. He has some examples up here. We got some on sale today, actually. So this workshop will go until at least 4:30. And any question you have, I'm sure you'll be happy to answer. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Young now.
Okay. Afternoon, have Qigong pretty hard because it's sleeping time, especially after the big lunch. All right. First thing, this afternoon we're going to cover is going to be a lot. I don't know how far we can go, but we try. The most important is try to understand what I'm talking about instead of just take it for granted. Say, okay, what you say must be right. Don't get the idea. Always doubt people say something. Always suspect. Always think, well, is that reasonable or not? Is logical or not? Is scientific or not? If you can put this kind of attitude, I believe you get it right. When you get it right, then you learn to think. Okay, Qigong is a science. It's not a voodoo. How many of you know what is Qi? You know what is Qi? And you can sense it. You can feel what is Qi. All right. So those are the first thing we're going to get into. The first thing we're going to get is what is Qi, and how Qi play in your body. Then we talk about the Qi body circulatory system. That one is the easy stuff. Then after that, we're going to talk about nowadays they have a bioelectric research in the United States, in the world. There's how Qi related to bioenergy in the body. Okay, if you don't understand that, that means you try to keep the traditional Chinese Qigong without linked together with modern science, then that means you're going to limit yourself knowledge in ancient time. But a lot of things already developed nowadays, and I believe there's what Chinese people call Qi. Then we're going to talk about the human magnetic field. Okay, then after that, you would kill probably about 2 hours already. Then we talk about internal elixir and external elixir. There's the two major categories of Qigong exercise. If you know those two Qigong major category exercise, if you know how we classify them, when you see any kind of people practice Qigong, you say, oh, I know what this one, what's the theory behind it, what's the principle behind it. Then after that, we're going to talk about the regular process of a Qigong training. How do you regulate your body, your breathing, your mind, and then your Qi and your spirit? Because there's 5 necessary steps to reach the enlightenment. Then after that, then we talk about Jing. Is a muscle tendon changing classic. If we have time, we talk about metal washing classic. Let's talk about everything very easy, then go so deep until metal washing. That's a big promise to this afternoon, but I don't know if you're going to understand or not. But you can understand, that's great. If you don't understand, this got an idea, because the book will come out soon. Give you a chance to buy my book. Okay, it's very important to understand what is Qi. Qi, a lot of people, like mainland China, they use QI. They call Ki. And the Japanese, they call Ki. A lot of Akito, those things, they always call Ki. One time I went to a convention. They invited me to go to convention for 2 hours of Qigong seminar. Then inside there are about 200 people there. It's all Aikido, all Taekwondo. And then I asked one question. They say, how many know what is Qi? Everybody raise hand because we talk about Qi. Then explain to me what is Qi. I said, we don't know. That means they know what is Qi, but they don't really know what is Qi. That's if you look like this. I say, do you know orange? You say, yeah, I know orange. Can you taste orange? You say, no. Then that means you don't know orange. There's all those kind of questions. It's very funny. And then they don't even experience it. But the Zen master talk about it. When I talk to those instructors, say, can you explain to me what the Japanese call Qi? Then he can't explain it. Then that means they don't really understand. But you understand that this thing is in China has been researched for 4,000 years. You trace back to the earliest is in China, 4,000 years ago, Chinese people already understand in the body, it's not only your physical body, you have another, it's energy body. All right? It's a very important concept. Chinese history started from 4,000 years ago. At that time already divided. What Chinese people call human is in 2 parts. If you lose any parts, you are not called humans. One is the physical body. The other one is your mental, your energy body. The inner body we call just Qi body. That's a G1. That's called Qi body. Then how do you define it? Only when you have a Qi circle in your body, then you have a spirit. Without this spirit combined with your physical body, you are dead. So it's important. So what Chinese always think about, physical body is very important. You got to make your body strong. But also you have to get your energy body strong. After all, if without energy body, your physical body is dead. Alright? So Qigong exercise build. One Qigong exercise build to strengthen physical body. That's called muscle tendon change. That's Yi Jing Jing. The other one is this one. That's the Xi Sui Jing. It's called marrow washing concept. You know marrow, right? Because my Chinese, my English is really bad. If you don't understand, say, can you repeat what's that word? Marrow is bone marrow and the brain. That's called Xi Sui Jing. So that is another part. Okay. So one time I was invited, went to the mental hospital in Boston for a seminar for 1 hour. It's only 1 hour, but that's the first time I interfaced with Western doctors. Inside about 50, 60 people, only about 13 are really professors from Harvard University Medical Center. But to them, I was scary because they know what's going on for doctors. But that's the first time they even talk about Chinese Qi. Then 2 of them, they always argue, say, I don't believe in the body have a Qi. I said, well, the first thing you have to know, what is Qi? If you don't know what is Qi, how do you know you have or not? You couldn't just say, before you know it, say, I deny it already. You understand? It's very, very important things. If you don't know, how can you deny it? It's almost like people that criticize Chinese martial art, or you try to criticize karate or Hapkido. Before you even know Hapkido, you criticize Hapkido. Then that means you don't know. How can you criticize? How can you compare? That means he only sees his point of view. Then that's why I talk to him and say, all right, if you deny the Qi, okay, then explain to me. There's a dead body here. There's now alive there. What's the difference? It's alive, that's dead. Yeah, I say, okay, then explain to me what's the difference. The alive one has the energy circle inside. The dead one doesn't. Okay. Then I pinch this dead one, I pinch it. He doesn't say, ow. I pinch it alive one. He say, wow, pain. I tell me what's the difference. He say, because they got the nerves. I say, well, this dead body also have the nerves. How come you don't say, ow? Then you start wondering now, what he said was right or wrong. Then more and more you start realizing, accept it. He said, oh, I see. He says, I realize what we are talking about is the body's energy system. Without that energy system, your body remains dead. So in the body, it's very important. If you understand your body's energy system, then that energy body system can energize, can make your machine working functioning smoothly. It's almost like there's a fan there. The fan itself is a physical body. What's the current supply? That's your energy body. So you have to understand, if you understand that, then it's so easy. As a human, it's not only you take care of this part, you also have to take care of this part. So if you understand that, then Qigong is so easy to approach, all right? Now, so Chinese people talk about Qi. When you talk about Qi, is that only restricted to the human body? You have to get an idea. It's not. Chinese, the Qi just means universal energy. For example, electricity, Chinese people call 电气. Well, how come they say Qi? The heat, they call 热气. The Qi. The heat, they call 热气. The weather, they call 天气. They say, oh, Chinese is ridiculous, put everything Qi there. But if you research all Chinese history, you'll find out everything related to the energy. They put Qi there. Because according to the definition, Qi is the energy. Qi is the energy. Alright? So from that kind of definition, you understand, we try to talk about the general definition, what is Qi in Chinese definition. So this is the universe. In China, ancient time, they only understand there's only one heaven. They don't even know the earth is one. They just know there's a heaven. So heaven is the most important because all the energy comes upon to you from the heaven. That's what we call heaven Qi. What the Chinese people call weather? What's it called weather? The Chinese people call weather called, I don't know how many Chinese here. Chinese call weather called 天气. Called heaven Qi, they call it weather. When you go to China, it's a 天气, they say, oh, it's weather. That's called heaven Qi. Well, how come you can use heaven Qi as weather? Because the weather is affected by the heavens. So that's the biggest thing is it comes from the heaven. Under the heaven, then they realize the earth is behind it. So this earth has earth Qi. The earth is itself as a field. Magnetic field inside, you have heat underneath it. All those can also affect the body, affect human beings, affect everything on this earth. Then underneath it, then human Qi is only part of it. So this is human Qi. So in China, the heaven, the earth, and the human, those are three things Chinese people believe called three powers. It's called 三才. Because that's the three most powerful. So you guys learn 三才剑 is a 三才. It's heaven, earth, and human. Because that's Chinese definition, they believe this in this world, heaven, earth, and human, those three is most powerful elements affect the whole situation. Like a man can create. The man's power belongs to the earth's power, but earth's power belongs to heaven's power. So in order for a human to live healthy, live for a long life, you have to understand the earth Qi. You have to understand the heaven Qi. If you are against the earth Qi, against heaven Qi, then you die. Easy. If you know the situation, then you live with it. Then pray Tai Chi with that, then you have a long time. You live a long time. So it's a very important idea. So Chinese idea is that the first thing you have to tune yourself to fit into the nature. So not only that, they keep concentrating, researching the human Qi. What's the relationship of human Qi with earth Qi, the human Qi with heaven Qi? So it becomes so many fields of the research in China. Okay. But even among human Qi itself, they also divide again. The first one you can see is acupuncture. Acupuncture has the longest history. But acupuncture is special for talking about human Qi. How do you adjust the human Qi? It's an important idea. Now we talk about acupuncture. What's acupuncture for? A lot of people say, oh, I know acupuncture, this is Chinese Buddhist stuff. But it's not. Acupuncture is so important because we understand, in your body, they try to consider your body like a big factory. Okay, I'm telling you, your body is factory. Then what's the products of your body's factory? It's your life, your health. Inside your body, you have 12 organs. Chinese people consider 12 organs. Those 12 organs is very important to keep you alive and keep you functioning normally and get you a long life. These 12 organs consider you have 12 machines. Think about this as like a 12 machine in your factory. Then these 12 machines, every machine has specific levels of qi. For example, the fans, the currents you give supply the fan with another engine or motor is different currents. Some can have a power supply 220 volts, the other one 110. So these are 12 organs have 12 different levels of qi to support it. When you have those 12 qi support these 12 organs keep alive. That means the engine keep functioning. That's why you have products. If any one of the engine got trouble, you have only 111, the other one engine didn't have the right levels of qi, then engine started to get trouble. Think about now, this is a factory. Inside they have 12 machines. 12 machines have to keep the right levels, 12 levels of qi there. The one machine now, you give him, okay, it's supposed to have a 5 ampere of current. You give him 10 by mistake. What's going to happen? This machine is going to burn out, right? All right? And that's coming out. The Chinese people now, okay, Chinese acupuncture, they say, before the current starts damage the machine, he will stop it. So Chinese master